Suddenly my vision cleared and a cold wind caressed my body. This was the hill from which you could see the whole village. Oh, we travelled some distance, haven't we? Looking down from this hill, I could see lights on here and there, and I knew that the entire village had awoken from its slumber. First Takano-san and Tomitake-san, then the mayor, and even Rika-chan and Sakato had been sacrificed, and the word of it was spreading everywhere. The strength of my knees left me. This could no longer be a joke. We could have found them. Mia would have told me I was worrywart, and I would be glad we did, and they would have smiled at me. My hopes disappeared as if I were awakening from a dream. That was what the view I could see was telling me. Following my knees, my arms both bent forward onto the ground, and I clawed at it with my nails. I couldn't figure out if I were feeling sorrow or frustration. Is this my fault? I couldn't endure the burden of my own sin, and I had just told Rika-chan about it. They had nothing to do with it, but Rika-chan and even Sakato had been sacrificed. It was like a cross that she and I would each have to bear the weight of until we ourselves were It was like a cross that she and I would each have to bear the weight of until ourselves were raised. Well, if I'm going that far, then the problems started long before that. My original sin of breaking taboo and entering the ritual storehouse without asking. I knew I shouldn't have gone in there from the start. And yet, I lost out to cheap curiosity. I had felt so angry at myself until this very moment. There was a crunching sound. I wasn't even interested in who made the noise, despondent as I was. Keiichi-kun? Keiichi-kun, are you okay? It was Rena. Perhaps my clawing at the ground made it look as though I was having stomach pains. She ran over, rubbed my back like she was trying to make me feel better. This is all my fault. It's because of me. It's my fault. Keiji-kun's fault? You didn't do anything wrong. Please don't blame yourself for this. I could tell Rena that she was doing her best to choose the right words out of consideration for me. That's why I could sense her intent behind those words. Keiji-kun, you know why Rika-chan and Sakato-chan disappeared, don't you? Is what she really meant to say. Because it was an emergency. Rena had ignored the reason why I wanted to make sure Rika-chan was safe, but now that we actually confirmed her disappearance, it was only natural Rena would start to wonder why. However, with the situation having gone this far, I couldn't possibly tell her now. I didn't want to admit to Rika-chan and Sakato had disappeared, but I couldn't let Rena disappear either. Keiichi-kun, if you stay here out in the wind, you'll catch a cold. When I sat down, bring her eyes level with mine. They told us that children should go home to sleep. Rena showed me her watch as she said that. It was long past 1 in the morning. Time was passing too quickly. And I've been crawling around here for that long. If we don't sleep soon, we'll have trouble getting up for school tomorrow. Even the adults are really worn out, since they were up searching for the mayor last night. They were saying they'd break up a little earlier tonight. I was a little upset that they weren't allotting as much time to this as they had to search for the mayor last night, but that was something I, the cause of everything, had no right to criticize them for. It's alright. The police arrived a little while ago. Look, there's police cars coming into the village right now. Hearing that remark, I looked down at the village to see that there were indeed more cars than one would normally expect at this hour, coming from the darkness on the other side of the mountain. However, none of the emergency lights were on. Of course, their sirens weren't wailing either. That's right. All of the incidents that occurred right after Watanagashi were seen as a part of Yashiro-sama's curse and would be handled in secrecy. Rika-chan and Sakuto too. Their disappearances would end up exactly like the other serial incidents in the past. They're repetitious, unresolved, declared a mystery, and disappear from memory. Rika-chan's face, her sweet face, like a Western doll's, would fade away. Sakuto's smile, her energetic fanged smile, would fade away. The more I tried to remember them, the less I would be able to. I deserved to be called an idiot dozens of times over, and it wouldn't be enough. I couldn't hold back the tears at my own sheer stupidity. I don't know what you're blaming yourself for, Keiji-kun, but you should stop. I wasn't about to deny it. I couldn't. Even so, I couldn't affirm it either. I wanted to at least keep Rena out of this. If she found out, she would become involved. Please, Rena. Could you leave me alone? Even if I went home, I wouldn't be able to sleep. If I couldn't get to sleep, then I at least wanted to search for Rika-chan and Sakuto until I collapsed. The entire village was looking, and yet they still hadn't been found. I don't think I'll be able to find them if I went looking alone at this point. Still, I had to do it. They disappeared because of me. I couldn't possibly go to sleep while other people are out there searching. I had said that to myself in self-deprecation, but I soon realized that Rena was silently trying to find the meaning of my mumblings. I realized that I had misspoke. It's Keiji-kun's fault? Why do you think that? Why? That can't be. Keiji-kun, you're not at fault. I was happy that Rena said these things to me, but she only did so because she didn't know the truth. If she knew that everything had been caused by my breaking taboo on the night of the Watanagashi, then even Rena would curse my existence. However, I can't even allow for these curses. That would mean confessing my own crimes to Rena. If I spelled even one word of having snuck into the ritual storehouse on the night of the Watanagashi, then even Rena would disappear tomorrow night. The gentle, spirited, always joking, always howling, but at a time like this, the most dependable person in the world, Rena might disappear. I don't want that. Anything but that. This time, I need to bear my own cross, alone. Keiji-kun, I know that you always have your friends in your heart. I can really understand feeling like you want to kick yourself. Rena knows though that it's not Keiji-kun's fault. You didn't do anything wrong, Keiji-kun, and I know that. You know that? The shivering in my veins rushed up my back and replaced the sorrow in my heart with fear. I didn't tell her anything, did I? Maybe I accidentally said something that caused Rena to figure it out. This is bad. Now Rena will disappear. Rena will disappear. Rena will disappear. Then Rena, the same way I always did, grabbed my head and began to pet it roughly. Keiji-kun, are you thinking that Rena might disappear now too? Because of your Yashiro-sama's curse? He puts more force into that hand rubbing my head. You don't need to worry about that. Rena isn't going anywhere. I promise. Why, how can you say that with such confidence? I mean, someone's already been sacrificed every night so far. There's no proof that it wouldn't happen again tomorrow night. There was even less proof after all that the sacrifice wouldn't be Rena. I don't care who you are. Just please, if you're going to erase someone, erase me first. Please, stop cruelly getting rid of people we're close to, like the mayor for Shion, and Rika-chan and Sakato for me. Shion's hysterical shouting came back to my mind. They must be planning to kill us off last of all. They're not killing the first people who come to mind. They start by killing those we're close to, and then, after they caused us so much pain, they'll kill us. That must be what they're doing. Rena? Please, don't disappear. Please, don't. As long as I'm still here. I could no longer conceal the sobs welling within me. Come on, Keiji-kun. Crying doesn't suit you. Let's go back to the others. The housewives are cooking some miso soup for us. They'll warm you up and calm you down. But it prompted me to stand. I didn't have the energy to oppose her, so I stood up as she urged me to. We returned to the shrine grounds to find several gas stoves there with miso soup in big pots. The many villagers there sipped at the soup they were given in dead stony silence. Their expressions were absolutely exhausted. Everyone had been running around the village until a little while ago. On the dreary looks on their faces, though, I assumed they hadn't come up with anything yet. Kei-chan, where did you go? I was worried you disappeared too. Sorry. Mion held out some miso soup for me, but I refused the offer. I didn't have much of an appetite. Mi-chan, how is it? Did you find any clues? Mion took a sip of her soup, her expression frank. None at all. School ended and they went home. Then the two of them went somewhere on their bicycles. Moreover, no one ever saw them riding their bikes, so... When it gets dark out in Hinamizawa, people quickly vanish from the streets. Aside from adults hurrying back from town or in cars on bicycles, it was normal to see absolutely nobody walking around outside. It wasn't at all strange that nobody had seen Rika-chan and Sakato riding their bikes. It was the same last night with the mayor. There's no hope. Mion's apathetic tone pricked on my nerves, but that anger quickly subsided. He had been doing all sorts of things to try and find Rika-chan until a second ago. If I asked her, she'd probably say she was up all last night too, looking for the mayor, wouldn't she? She must be far more fatigued than I was. Besides, what's the one about me? I had spent the whole time hunched over in indecision, all alone. I had no right to say anything about Mion. Kei-chan, I know it's hard, but let's turn in for the night. We just decided we should break up the search for now. Think this and let's call it quits. Is it the end? Oh no, of course not. Once it's bright again, we'll do a thorough search with the police's help. They could have gone to Okinomiya too. People are saying we should go all through the... People are even saying we should go through all the Shishimon city, investigating whether there are any witnesses for both the girls and the mayor. Anyway, what happened, Kei-chan? Where did you go off to? You vanished all of a sudden. I was really worried. Suddenly I was on the receiving end, but I didn't have the willpower to respond. Sorry, I'll be more careful. Nothing happened? There wasn't anyone suspicious spying on you or stalking you? Nothing like that? Mion demanded of a serious expression. I was being criticized for how inconsiderate I had been. Despite being in so much pain, I was frustrated that I was being criticized. But it was my sin. My sin, and I must bear it alone. Nothing. I'll be careful either way. Sorry. Mion, now aware that nothing had happened, heaved a big sigh with her shoulders, looking relieved. Oh my. I knew I smelled something good coming from over here. I'll be much obliged if you allow me to have some. We heard the repulsive voice of a fat man. It was Ochi-san, trailed by a handful of police officers. He was acting energetically in a way unfitting given the situation. There's not much left, but you can have some if you want. Mion didn't like Ochi-san very much. The cold attitude though didn't seem to bother Ochi-san in the slightest. It was like splashing water in a frog's face. Well, now, miso soup leftovers have a bit too much salt for my tastes. Confound it. Wouldn't you like any? Would you all like any? We recommended it to his subordinates, but everyone gave dry smiles and refused. So the police gotten a hold of any clues? Rena's smile was warm enough to replace the miso soup. Don't you worry, little missy. Everything's fine. We're searching for them real good. He didn't say a word about having found any new clues. In other words, there had been no progress. That sure wasn't annoying while you're beating around the bush. In any case, it's really gotten late. All of you youngsters should get on home and get some sleep. It'll be sad for your health otherwise. It'll be bad for your health otherwise. Yeah. K-chan, Rena, let's get some rest. These guys with our tax money, they'll handle it from here for us. We're taxpayers too, you know. It's like we're drinking our own piss. How late? How tired are you? I really wasn't in the mood for laughter. In fact, Ochi-san was the only one laughing like an idiot. Okay, seriously, please do your best. Let's go home, Keiichi-kun. It'll be harder to wake up tomorrow if we don't. Yes, that's right. I can always bring you home if you need. Kuma-chan, why don't you bring the car around? No thanks. We came on our bicycles, so... No need to worry. We came in a truck. We'll just throw the bikes in the back. We may have gotten pretty sleepy, but we just need to ride home at this point. We just needed to ride home at this point. I didn't want to bother the police like that. Rena, however, nodded. Okay, if you insist, we appreciate it. It's probably safer than if we went back home alone. When I thought about it carefully, I realized that Rena's idea was extremely rational. Now that it's decided, let's get a move on, shall we? Okay, bye. Good night. Rena, Kei-chan. Yeah, Mi-chan, you go to bed soon too, okay? Good night. I waved my hand as well, saying goodbye. Ryuga-chan and Sakuto still haven't been found. Mayonnaise, however, was steadily being pushed away by sleepiness. Rena showed the police where our bicycles were so that Oshi-san could haul them up onto their truck. He prompted us to get into the back seat. I could hear the spring squeaking as I sat down onto the seat, and it would normally hurt my rear end. But at this point, it was very soft and was more than comfortable enough for me to fall asleep on. Ladies first, we'll start with the little Mrs. home, with the little Mrs. house. Where do you live? Thank you. My house is, well... No, we're just drifting off to sleep now. Rena's voice slowly grew distant. I felt myself being sucked into the void of sleep.